Oh, hi. Well, this is something that's a bit different because I would usually talk about figures, talk about K pop, unbox an album, or talk about something, either something about pop culture or some topics, some Philippine topics. Now, what I'm gonna be doing is more of a this is going to be a combination of two, and that is we're gonna be talking about something about pop culture, and we're gonna be sharing some toys. And that topic of pop culture is a movie franchise. It is a movie franchise that actually has been very dear to my heart, in a sense that it kind of watched me grow up, and it's also a character that I've been a big fan of, and that is the Predator. Now, the Predator franchise in itself, it's already a franchise, by the way. It's not just a movie franchise now. It has had movies, it has had short films, it has had video games, it has had comics and novels. So, Predator has already expanded way beyond the normal movies, the movies in itself. I would say it would be similar to Star Wars in a sense that it has gone beyond the movies. Even Aliens, not so much, but more or less, it's still the same. Especially since they've added lore to it with regards to the engineers in Aliens. But personally, I'm a personal fan of Predator because story time, because in the times of the 90s or 80s, I think it's in the 80s. There used to be a thing called the laser disc. It's a big disc that instead of using the VHS or the Betamax, which is more like a cartridge, it is a big disc. It's supposed to be more clear. And I essentially grew up. I essentially would spend some weekends with my uncle. His name's Uncle Henry. Hello, Uncle, if you're watching this, but I'm sure you're not. Um, and the first Laserdisc movie I've watched, actually two movies that I've watched, is Big Trouble in Little China, which is something I super love, and The Predator. No, Predator. It's just Predator, not The Predator. Okay, that was in 1987. So that movie was in 1987. So if it became a laser disc, it would be around a year or so, around 1988. So, and that shocked me because it is not your normal horror genre that you have these kids being victimized by a killer, but instead you've got hardened soldiers and they're getting picked off. And then you come with the character, a big lizard-like character with weapons that you can't find, like the cloaking device, which for me I've always found as a crutch. They've always used it as a crutch. And another thing is that aside from that, you can see that it bleeds, right? And then until it gets killed. Okay. Ever since that I've watched Predator, I can't count how many times I've watched Predator already. But then again, it's still one of my favorite films. And now, for the past since the pandemic happened, there has been three Predator movies that has been released, and which people are saying refreshed the Predator franchise. Okay, refreshed, not replaced. Okay, and that is the recent movies of Dan Trachtenberg. So far, all these films have been directed by one director, Dan Trachtenberg. John Trachtenberg is a fairly new director. He has directed 10 Cloverfield Lane from the Cloverfield movie franchise, which I'm just pretty cool, not that cool. It's okay, but I didn't like the premise, but I liked the first movie. So, In 2024, Predator Prey was released in digital. It wasn't released in films, and it gave rise to a big support again for Predator. It talked about a Native American girl, going against a predator. So it was during the times of the Great Plains. So it would also show that the predators have been hunting long before, long before Predator, the movie. And then that was in 2024. Despite it being digital release only, it has really almost gone iconic. It was they would people would actually hearken it back to the original movie in a sense that it was just really basic. Warriors fighting a predator, a Yautja, which is what they're called now, a Yautja, predator fighting a Yautja and winning using their smarts. Then after that, Dan Trachtenberg did two films in 2025. Two films, would you believe that? One is an animated film, Predator Killer of Killers, which is an anthology, three different stories in three different timelines of three different people against a Yautja. Now, I will use the term Yautja now because Predator is too broad. So again, that is, by the way, a Yautja is already an expansion of the lore. It is not part of the movies initially. So it is part of the expanded lore already entering the movie space. Just like Star Wars with Grand Admiral Thrawn and all that. So after that, they did the big film Predator Badlands, and it was different. It talks about, now spoiler alert, but then again it's been a while already. So again, spoiler alert. It talks about a Yautja, Dek, who is the runt of the litter. I'm not sure if he's the runt because he's small. Well, from the film, he looks smaller, a lot smaller than his brother Quay. And his journey to become a Yautja. Apparently, in their lore, they have to do a hunt, and if they're successful in the hunt, then they get the cloak. What is the cloak? The device that cloaks them, the one that makes them invisible, right? So apparently, Dek has a brother, Quay, who seems to be a normal guy in a sense that he is not ostracized, he is not the runt, and he has already been pretty successful as a hunter. Apparently, he was supposed to be killed. Dek was supposed to be killed because he is the runt, and he brings, I guess, embarrassment to the clan. The father Nyor was in the end, Quay, who I guess owed him a favor. They protected Dek by letting him fly out, and unfortunately, Quay gets killed by Nyor, being also weak. By protecting someone weak, he becomes weak himself. Okay, so from there, we've got Dek doing his journey, his Yautja journey, until he meets Thea, who is now this is where the movie comes in. This is where the aliens reference comes in from Weyland Yutani. They team up, and in essence, they become a team. And also, they add another member, which just Bud. We just call her Bud. All right, so the film is great. It's actually the highest grossing film, Predator film. It made 183 million. Well, the budget's around, I think the budget's 100 million plus. So it's you could say it, well, on a $105 million budget, making 183 million, 84 million technically it seems like it made money, but then again, usually if you add marketing budget to it, it should double. So you're not sure how big it is, but on the gross side, the highest grossing Predator film, it has gone 180 million. So personally, I love the movie. I always love a movie. Even I But then again, you got a lot of people hating on it as well. And it's funny that the ones hating on Predator Badlands are the older fans. They're calling it's not the Predator I grew up in. It's not the Predator. They're calling it Disneyfied. They're Disneyfying Predator. Well, first off, Predator's IP owners 20th Century and Disney bought that already. So it is a Disney. It is a Disney IP. Alright? That's already a Disney IP. Okay? Now, it's gonna be Disneyfied anyway. But then again, they're saying it's one of the worst movies, but no, it's not. Actually, the Predator franchise itself has 7 Predator movies and 2 crossover movies. Okay? So you're telling me that the Predator, wherein they had that autistic child as part of the human evolution, a better movie than Badlands. Predators is fine. Okay, so just for context, there are 7 movies already. That's Predator in 1987, Predator 2 in 1990 with Danny Glover, Predators at 2010 with Adrian Brody, The Predator in 2018, which is with Tremblay, then Prey 2024, Killer of Killers 2025, and Badlands 2025 as well. Then the 2 crossovers were AVP and AVP Requiem. So, of these films, first off, they're saying that how can you tell me that this is the worst film when you've got a film like The Predator, wherein you've got the Predator you've got the Predator suit being worn by you. I mean, it's one of the dumbest, useless movies I've ever watched. I love the part where there was some of these rejects fighting the Predator, but then again, the whole premise was stupid. Okay, I like Predators, them going into a Predator planet to be hunted. That's not bad. I liked it. But it showed us a lot more about the different Predators, and it has shown that the Predator lore has already expanded. So I don't understand where older fans, or maybe no, not really even, maybe I guess Gen X, they're the ones, maybe millennial fans hating on Predator Badlands, saying that, oh, it Disneyfied the film. It's not my Predator. Of course it's not your Predator. You grew up in the 80s. And you grew up in the 90s as well, which it's all about gore and blood. When that time Predator was still a horror franchise. The first movie, The Predator, was actually a horror film. But the second movie has already moved into sci-fi. Because remember, in the end, they added that Easter egg with that flintlock pistol to Danny Glover's character. So that in itself has already expanded the story. It's not just a simple monster killing people. Now it's now gotten some rules. It has now gotten an quote unquote honor code. And of course, and Predator Badlands and Prey and all these movies are not meant to replace the Predator, the original Predator movie. It's not. It's to actually enrich it. And fine, movie is subjective. A person that I've always admired is John Campia. He've always said that movies are subjective. Yes. But then again, at least be in terms of your subjectivity, at least give it better context. Just saying, oh, it was stupid. There was even a discourse about it, talking about it. Oh, it suspends disbelief. Are you stupid? You're talking about an alien in another planet. Of course, it's gonna be disbelief. Unless the stupid point that dumbass was saying was that How was the camp and all that so convenient? Well, of course, if you're gonna make it like deck looking at finding where it is, the movie might take weeks. It's pretty stupid, right? So at least if you're going to be subjective about it, at least add context. I do understand that they miss the gore, they miss that it's just a simple slasher film killing. But then again, there's already comics. The other Predator fans grew up in comics. Dan Trachtenberg grew up in the Dark Horse comics and the novels and all that. That's why he's also invested in it. That's why you can see that the three movies were done with love. And you have already seen the different races or different variations of the Predator, of the Yautja. And what he adds here is adds another dimension. Because in Prey, it's basically the same as the first movie. Just a predator, just a monster trying to build and build his trophies and build his skill. You got that. Second, he tried exploring the lore from different timelines and different eras and how they beat the predator. And this time in the third movie, it now goes the focus goes to the predator himself, to the Yautja himself, on how as opposed to Runt was able to work himself up to become a full-fledged Yautja, Deck of the Yautja. Can't you see the progression there? And if you're telling me, oh, but it's not, it made them Disneyfied. So what story do you want? You just want slasher films? So you wanna do Friday the 13th, like Halloween, just kill and kill and kill without much story. Well, that's fine, but then again, you're forgetting the Predator franchise is now sci-fi. And Dan Trachtenberg added to that already. So people have to remember that. But it's isn't it great? Doesn't it even have a story? Because doesn't even also have a lesson. It actually has a lesson. That first, you cannot just box people in that say, oh, he's small, he's a runt, and he's gonna be good for nothing. Second is that how Deck did. He came in as close-minded. I am Deck of the Yautja. I am friend to no one. I do not ask help. But then at the end of the day, he had to learn from the surroundings. He learned from Thea, and learned that he's not alone. That's actually a more useful lesson than any of the Predator, any of the whatever lessons that you're gonna get from the Predator franchise movies. You can actually work on it as a learning point, wherein you can't just judge a person just because he's small, right? Then you also have another lesson there, is that the dualities of lessons. Number one, you have Thea, who learned that you have to be more inclusive to learn things, while Tessa, because she tried to help Thea, just decided, oh, it's just useless. So you can become jaded or you can care more. That's how things happen also. That's how people actually change. Some people just become jaded and not care, while others actually end up going deeper, caring deeper. So the Predator Badlands has all those lessons. And they're just so close-minded about it. Oh, it's not my predator. It's not your predator. It's not your time anymore. It's too Disneyfied. At least they give lessons. There's no gore. There was gore. It's just not red blood. It was so convenient. Everything was. Of course, it's a movie. You can't spend 10 weeks in a movie. But personally, I think, now my personal takes, I loved it, of course. I haven't bought the figures because I don't think they have the figures yet. But personally, I like Deck. I like that he learned to become resourceful, even on how he killed his father. I always found that the Predators have the cloaking device as a crutch. Because if you're really that badass, you'd show yourself just like a space marine, right? Okay, I'm a Warhammer fan. So they have that, and I guess maybe it could help him, but then again, at least he learned how to fight without the cloak first, and now he got the cloak. So I'm not sure if it's going to have a sequel, but then again, I'd be more than happy to watch the sequel. I'd be more than happy to buy the figures as well. Though it's just sad that we didn't see Deck and his other weapons. I would have loved to see that. And also their new member Bud. I'd like to see how he grows up. But then again, I'm not sure how it will happen to Bud if he can fit in the ship though. So, but then again. So I just like to give that discourse that it's not your Predator franchise, and Predator Badlands is not meant to replace the Predator franchise. It's actually to enrich it. If we don't like it, it's fine, but at least have more context and rather than, it's not my Predator. Right? Now, I just would like to share some figures. Now, this I shared before. So, this is from the first Predator. So, I made a mistake. This is from NECA. NECA has taken the Predator franchise, and I've shown this before. So, it's got the... This is from the first movie, so they've got the different trophies. You've got the big weapon, the big plasma caster, right? So, but I'd like to show two more Predator figures, and these are the OG Predator figures from McFarlane Toys. Now, these are actually the same Predator, the same Yautja from Predator 2. So this is they call him the City Hunter. Okay? They unofficially called him the City Hunter. So this is him. Actually, this is also more than... Oh dear, this might be more than almost 20 years old. Yeah, I was still barely out of college. So yeah, this could be around 20 years old already. So these are two versions of the City Hunter. Okay. Yes, it's dark. The paint almost has faded, but you can see the details of the McFarlane figures. All right. They used to call this the Mac statues because very basically articulation is very limited. So let's start with this one first, the City Hunter. So it has the blades, which actually you can retract and you can push forward. Next is that it's got this weapon. It's got the disc. In Predator 2, it uses it like a discus. And next is the plasma caster. It's a smaller model, the plasma caster, and it's actually weird because it's got the pack as well. So you have to put it in the side for it to use. So, but the thing is, it actually hides hides nicely. And then there's some of the pack. And this is the mask. You can actually remove the mask to see his handsome face. See that handsome face? Yeah, handsome face. Alright, so you've got that, and it's connected, so hope you won't lose it. So you've got that. And it has something special. What is that? So see this hand? See this hand? See this hand, right? Ta-da! It detaches. Yes, because in the film, his hand gets cut off. So there you go with its neon blood. So, yay! Okay. So you get that, and then the other one, the other version of the City Hunter, is an unmasked version, and it is him roaring. Okay. Now, the disc is still removable. He doesn't have a mask anymore. He still has the plasma caster. Okay, he still has the plasma caster. Still can keep the plasma caster. And what is additional is he can hold his combi weapon, his combi spear. So and the thing with the spear is that it actually retracts. So you can extend it, you can extend the spears. Yeah, you can extend the spear. which is not bad. It's cool, pretty cool, right? And then also another thing with it is that you can also open the panel for his for that bomb thing, for the bomb, because they also have that. If you're the predators have this thing wherein if they go hunting and in the end I guess they're gonna lose, they can activate that bomb so that everything gets to blow up. I guess it's like a final fuck you to whoever kills them. or, or but it's, I guess it's also to protect their technology, I guess. And then also um the thing the blades also retract and extend. So this is like old school McFarlane figures. Now, well, when NECA came in and refreshed it with the other Predator characters, I guess this also fell out of favor by collectors because of course it's dated, it's very dated the despite the obvious amazing sculpt of the figures, right? See that compared to the paint job's a lot better. Okay, the Predator paint job for NECA's a lot better. But then again, you're talking about a figure at a time difference of more than 10 years. I think NECA's only been doing this for around 10 years. So, I mean, if it's more than 10 years apart and the difference is just a bit, it's very not minimal, but not as not as not as not as big, then this is still a great figure, right? So you've got NECA, you've got now other companies that have done it is HIA. It is a smaller figure, superposable as well. So they've got that. They've got other types of figures that had predators. So it's not just the one movie, right? I guess my point is that the Predator franchise has already evolved. Alright, so it's not just a horror movie anymore. It is now not a horror movie anymore. It is now a franchise. It's now a story with its own lore, and people should understand that as well. I know movies are subjective, right? But then again, they should also remember that first, the business wise, it is an IP. Of course, they need to make money out of the IP unless it just stays there forever. Then this is already a fresh way for people to get to know the Predator more, and with that, you can move it. You can have them move back to the old movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first movie, and appreciate it, right? So, oh, it's moving, right? So, I mean, okay, it fell. So, but right, it's my goal. My goal here is for people to understand that the Predator franchise, that Predator Badlands, is already. I guess it's already evolved with the times. It's not your 80s horror film anymore. It has lore, it has stories, and it actually has lessons. And I'm very happy that they've got Dan Trachtenberg to handle the franchise, and hopefully I'm very very excited to see more movies. Hopefully we get more films to talk about, to have the Predator franchise at least establish more of that before they do other crossovers. But I'm very happy where the franchise is going, and I'm also a big fan of the Predator Badlands franchise. Yes, it is Disneyfied in that they're putting family in, but at least it puts more lessons. Okay, you don't just watch there to be stupid, then you come in. At least this time you get some lessons, and at least hopefully they're smart enough to understand the lessons. So actually, the Predator franchise is now in a better place.